Hey there, welcome to the Girl Go Global podcast, where faith and works are empowered. With every episode, we're embracing our multi-layered lives with faith, know-how, and grit. I'm your host, Dr. Jasmine, and I'm ready to go global with you. Let's get started. Welcome to the Girl Go Global podcast, where faith and works are empowered. Girl Go Global is not only a call to action, but it's a community, y'all. It's a community for women. So plug in to the community. I know you are enjoying the podcast because I see those downloads. So thank you so much for joining me each week. But we have a blog, so you can subscribe at www.hellogirlgoglobal.com. You can subscribe there. You can check out books by me, of course. Just check it out on my website at girlgoglobal.com. But today, I'm so excited that I have with me a very, very special guest. We met probably around 2017, I think, maybe.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. It's been such a long time. And before we hopped on, she phrased it so well. She said we've been building community online. And that's what we've been doing. We've been plugged into each other's lives online, supporting each other, liking, sharing. So she purchased one of my books. So I was just so excited to have this conversation. Like, we literally met at a networking event, a reception. And so that speaks to networking. We're going to get into the conversation. But first, let me introduce her. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right, girl. Durecia, is that good?
Durecia
Moorer is an international speaker and marketing strategist, leading the marketing and advertising service line at ABCD and Company. Durecia leverages education, empathy, and empowerment to create transformational growth with her client portfolio, valued at $18.4 billion. I said it right, $18.4 billion. She has been featured in a number of media outlets. She has won Enterprising Woman of the Year. She is a Gates Millennium Scholar Recipient. She is Howard University alum. And she also has a master's in nonprofit management. And now she is a candidate for a Master of Divinity at Samuel Dewitt Proctor School of Theology. Durecia, would you please introduce yourself to the Girl Go Global community?
Well, I feel like you already did it, Jasmine. Dr. Jasmine, I should say. Let me be correct. Earned all of those letters.
Yes, she did, yeah.
Yes, I am Durecia Moorer, Managing Partner and Chief Marketing Officer at ABCD and Company, a marketing and events transformation agency located in Rockville, Maryland, and very excited to be with the Girl Go Global family today.
Thank you so much for joining me. We got so much to talk about. I listed just a few of your accolades, but first, I just want to jump right into an early conversation about women in leadership. Then I want to jump over to women of leadership in the faith. Then I want to jump over to women in the faith in leadership who are also single.
Girl,
okay.
Hopefully not for long, Jesus.
Oh, we praying. Hello. But tell me about ABCD Company, how it started, how it's going. When we met, I don't believe that you were managing a portfolio of $18.4 billion. So tell the folks what that is, what you all do, what's your role. Just give us some more details.
Yes. So ABCD and Company was started 9 years ago by myself, the D. So that's where our name comes from. ABCD, it's our initials. So Amber, Brittany, Corey, myself, Durecia, graduates of Howard University, came together very quickly, I would say, after graduation a couple years later, and started this organization. And this agency was actually starting off as a management consulting company. We were helping small businesses, nonprofits, with everything. We all each are uniquely and individually gifted. And so when it came to starting your organization, building your brand, coming up with your value and your core services, we were doing all of that. But the challenge was the budget, right? We still provide, pro bono hours to, select smaller companies, but we realized that in order for us to really scale and honestly survive, we had to pivot in terms of the types of services that we were offering. So I guess my kind of first lesson coming out the gate was that you can't be all things to all people. You got to kind of narrow it down and really get to the heart of who you are and what you offer. We were finding that people kept saying, what y'all do again? What y'all do again? And so we took the time to do the hard work and the heart work to figure out how we wanted to show up in the marketplace. And so probably about 4 years ago, we pivoted to fully marketing and events. And so that's everything from the marketing and advertising, all events from trade shows to activations, and then also what we call creative services, which is really the brand house, and then digital solutions, which is web, app, and digital. So that's essentially who we are from an integrated standpoint. But I think when we met, we were kind of reevaluating, even from a personnel standpoint, how we wanted to execute the work. And so, shortly thereafter, of course, the pandemic happened. So we were like, okay, Lord, now we didn't pray. We got revelation about who we are and how we're going to show up in the market. And then you're going to allow a pandemic to come. Like, people are not going to purchase marketing events. That is not a necessity. So, that's like the first couple places where budgets are cut, but God is so faithful and he's so good. And we end up getting a grant from the state of Maryland and pivoting to virtual events very quickly. Had a partnership with an international influencer to broadcast through his platform for our clients. And so we added value and quickly pivoted. And so coming out of pandemic, if you will, we're now at a team of 17 and looking for 4 FTEs. So we are hiring like crazy. We're growing like crazy. And my portfolio, the marketing and advertising portfolio, that number is a real number. And it really drills down to the average revenue and or valuation of an entity. And so I'm working with hospitals. I'm working with financial services institutions and banks. I'm working with large associations. And it's really crazy because when we started this company, again, we just wanted to help people live into their purpose and live into their dreams. And we're able to do that in such a massive way. Like last year, we made a commitment to give not only $100,000 to St. Jude, but we raised an additional $400,000 and was awarded the Social Justice Partner of the Year from St. Jude Research Hospital. So I say that to say I'm really living a dream each and every day. You can't see on my wall, but it says, I still remember the days I prayed for the things that I have now. And that's really truly what it is. Like I still remember that day, and I'm just grateful to be able to live into my dream now.
Oh my God. You are warming my heart, because I think when we met, when did you all start? Because I think when we met, it was around the early stages of
When we started January 2nd of 2014.
Gotcha.
So when you and I met, we were in that kind of crossroad. Like, we're here, we have some clients, but like, do we really know what makes us different? Do we really know what our impact is? Yes and no. But now it's very clear. Like, we're mission focused. Now we're just moving, just making moves. Like 10 years, January 2024. So, things take time. And as a business owner, one of the things that I, had to really process is we could have been okay with being small coming out the gate. Sometimes you don't want to come across too small because you feel like you're going to isolate yourself from opportunity. But we could have been small for a little bit. We could have hit the pavement a little bit more in that kind of more grassroots way. But God still took everything. One of my friends I met at a conference most recently, she said, God wastes nothing. And he really didn't waste anything. The mistakes, the mishaps, the bad hires, all of it, he didn't waste it. And I'm living into the all things work together for real, for real.
Wow, that's so good. So, as in your role within the organization, you manage the marketing and advertising side. So each of you all have your own portfolio. So for business owners, a lot of times they don't necessarily know how to get leads. How do you manage your portfolio, go out and get those leads to bring those clients in so that they turn over into signing and paying that invoice or transferring, doing those wires only, wire transfers, because when you're going over a certain amount, we need a wire at this point.
Yeah,
so
right.
how does that work for you, getting leads? Because I know some folks who are business owners, even small, who maybe they're large in a sense that they've been doing it for a while, they're making great money, they're well above the lower six figures. Like, tell us about those leads to even manage to build your portfolio to be at that level, valued at that level.
Yeah, I think a lot of it boils back to relationships. Business is built on relationships. I can't remember which book it is, but it talks about people do business with who they know, like, and trust. And I truly, truly believe that. And so it's figuring out who you know, who likes you, and who trusts you. That is really the segments of what your potential opportunities can look like. And once again, you and I are the perfect example of someone who knows each other and likes each other. We haven't been able to build trust because we haven't built a relationship from offline. But think about how many people are just in those two phases alone that know Dr. Jasmine, that like Dr. Jasmine. That's a whole set of potential clients right there. And building those relationships so they are able to trust you and then hand over their vision, their babies to you. I would say also being able to speak to people's pain points. Like, business is about solving problems, and we don't like to talk about that, but that's really what it is. Like, if you can show up in the space and be able to really speak to the need of that person, like, what does success look like for them in these roles? Because a lot of times they're afraid to give an opportunity to you because they know that it's high risk. For us, we're working with large banks and colleges and universities, associations, etc. And so they're too big to fail. You talk about a PR nightmare, a PR crisis, they're too big to fail. So because they're too big to fail, they're going to be very apprehensive to give you over something without really being able to see that you can get the job done. So again, that still boils back to trust, but being able to show, like, I have, this past performance, if you will, or I have not just an idea and a concept, but I've been able to prove that I have impact. That's what we call it here at ABCD. Like, we are definitely analytical and into the numbers, but at the same time, what we're really trying to measure is impact. Like, how have we transformed the way you communicate and connect with your stakeholders? If we can't see, like, the bar been raised high, then we're not doing something right. We're bottom line driven, but not in a way that supersedes impact, because sometimes you can't see the impact with the numbers. Sometimes you got to get beyond what the analytics say and get into some of that, qualitative data, like how are we shifting hearts and shifting minds and changing behaviors, and that too is impact. So teaching our clients how to value that, because we're still people. Like, I think in the marketing and event space, we like to really categorize it numerically, and that's a part of it, but it starts to treat us like we chat GBT or something. Like we have hearts, we have minds, we have spirits, we have souls, and our relationships and community and behaviors are impacted by how we engage with everything around us. So yeah,
that's so good. I love it. I love that you all have landed on your way forward now. You knew how to pivot in the pandemic. And so that's awesome. And I want to shout out the congratulations to you all for all that hard work, doing the hard work. And then you said doing the hard work as well. I'd like to learn more a little bit about how you all manage your friendship and your business relationship. Like, that's a simple question. Like, you're friends first, right? And how do you do business and still respect the friendship, or it doesn't cross the boundary, and still maintain that relationship? How does that work for you guys?
It might sound like an over spiritualized answer, but our friendship is on the foundation of Christ. It really is. Our name, think of that. Think about how divine that is. ABCD, for our first initials to line up in that way. And even it's funny because a church mother, she couldn't remember our names. She said, I'm gonna start calling y'all ABCD. We were like, oh crap. And this was like 4 or 5 years into our friendship. So we didn't even have the revelation that that's the way our names lined up. But, I will tell you that when you are doing ministry, because our business is a ministry, we're changing people's lives. We are creating impact. Some of the projects that we're working on are talking about disrupting the status quo and getting access to capital to minority business owners and getting health education to people who otherwise wouldn't have it. Like, this ain't no play over here. And when I think about the mission, when we think about the mission, that's what keeps us focused. And so do we fight? Absolutely. And when the initial stages, we fought like crazy. We finally are at a place now where it's like, you got it. And it's all love, and we respect each other's gifts and talents. But that was the thing, like understanding how different and uniquely made we are. Like, I'm the extrovert, I'm the people person, but I'm highly intuitive. And, that's what the world would say. But honestly, like God, the spirit really leads and guides me. And so my team, they too have their gifting, but they know when Dee's like, y'all, something in my spirit not feeling right. They like, okay, we ain't doing it because Dee said, and we trust the God in her. And so I think our foundation is so solid. Yes. And it's kind of like being parents to a kid. ABCD and Company is its own identity. There's several employees here now, so they contribute to that identity. This is also their home, their baby. They invest time and energy and resources into this company. And so as a result, we're like, this is not even about us anymore. This is bigger than us, like people's livelihood, people's health insurance and benefits and, sustainability as parents and wives and husbands all depend on us.
Wow. Yeah, that's a lot.
Like, we don't have time to be fighting because we got paychecks to make.
And y'all need a paycheck.
And we need a pay. Hey, hello? Hello? We like nice things. So, the foundation is secure. And when you are secure in yourself, it's easy to be in business with other people.
That's good. I love that. That's one of the main things, because you can't have too much ego. You can't have, I love what you said. Well, they trust your gut, and I'm sure that you trust their gut.
Yep.
So I love that you all can lean into biblical principles in order to run your company, if that makes sense.
Oh, it is 1000%. We pray before every executive meeting on Mondays at 9 a.m. We put our clients, our team members, our partners before the Lord and ask God to cover them and give them favor. It's a very intricate part to our decision making. We like, okay, Lord, how we use this money? Lord, how we do this? Is this the client? You close the door. We really believe promotion comes from God. We really believe that God opens doors that no man can close, and God closed doors that no man can open. Like, we believe those things. And so when things don't work out, when it comes to clients or opportunities, it's well. And it's well because we know who really has the final say.
And God put y'all together. So He's going to keep y'all together. He's going to keep you sustained.
Yep.
He's going to keep you steady. Yeah, because, trying times will come. But God.
Yeah.
I love that. So this enterprising Woman of the Year, tell us about, you have so many accolades. You have won awards. You are a scholar. Tell us how you balance your professional life with your personal life.
Wow. A couple years ago, this was a very complicated answer, but I'm so proud of my growth. So right now what I'm doing, because I'm in school on Fridays and Saturdays mostly, and it's normally about 6 to 10 on Friday, and then Saturday 9 to 12 because I'm graduating. It's kind of fluctuating, but for the past 3 years, that's been my life. So, the Fridays and Saturdays were pretty much consumed with school, but I found a way to do self-care Saturdays.
Mm.
And these are the most lavish dates for myself.
Mm.
I spare no expense. And I plan these things like I'm planning them for one of my best friends' birthdays or whatever. And it might be spa, it might be shopping, it might be a new restaurant. Whatever it is planned with all the details and everything that I love. You know, I'm a coffee person. So one of my self-care Saturdays, I went to a coffee shop and it was like a bakery and everything. And then I did online shopping in the coffee shop. So I was like indulging in all my favorites at the coffee shop. And then some of them are more lavish where it's like every enhancement, every extra thing at the spa I'm getting. Like, no, I want the triple double pedicure, the longest massage, the best facial. You know, I'm gonna buy me a Louis bag, like whatever it is. I just do it with so much intention for me. And it feels good. It feels good. It's been very helpful for me. And then some self-care Saturdays are sitting on the couch, been watching Love is Blind because that's my show. I'm so fascinated by the psychology of that show. But yeah, the point is that I make time for me. And everyone knows, all my close friends, my first lady, everyone knows, okay, it's self-care Saturday, do not bug D. And I am just intentionally spending time with myself and reflecting and being present. I'm a thinker. And so that time helps me process, that time helps me center. I would say another thing that I'm doing that's been very helpful for my mental health is working out. You know, I don't get to do it every single day, but I have a trainer, and just, you know, the twice a week alone is helpful. And I'm seeing myself lose weight, which is crazy because like you think you got to work out 50 times a week. It's like, no, what am I putting in my body? I'm so conscious about what I'm eating now. And so I think in general, I am taking care of myself in a very meaningful way. This temple is getting love.
Yeah,
and I'm, you know, pouring into my spirit. I'm doing the self-care Saturdays. I'm working out. I'm eating what I need to. My sleep, it's better. You know, it could always be even better, but you know, I'm trying not to do the all-nighters all the time or the, you know, 4 hours of sleep all the time. But you know, when you just love what you do and you're excited and grateful to wake up every morning, it just kind of sort of happens that way sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, I was just very curious because it's no way you can manage a portfolio like that and not, you know, have dedicated time for yourself. But also, it could also push you to just dedicate all your time to the work, to the business. So I was just interested to learn more about that. But it sounds like you have a handle on it and have been able to manage to have a regimen that everyone has respected with balance and boundaries.
Yes, yes. And I have a coach too, and he holds me accountable to these things. I would say, you know, for me, I've learned like you can't be, yes, I'm successful, but you always need wisdom. You always need wisdom. You always need counsel. And, you know, God puts people in your life to really be that for you. You just got to be open to receive it. You got to be a person, as a person of faith, as a person who loves God, you got to be open to chastisement and you got to be open to constructive critique. Otherwise, you get stagnant. Like, even though I'm like so successful, this cannot be my end. This is just the beginning.
Just the beginning.
I can't be comfortable. And what got me here ain't gonna keep me here. Because what I did in that first 9 years, that ain't gonna do nothing for where I need to go this next 10 years. So I'm mindful of that when it comes to my self-care, but also my personal growth and development.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You know, it just, you know, has me thinking, you know, I'm sure that you all are thinking about this, but just looking at the future of the company, the ideal state, you know, at what point will you say this valuation is, this business is worth this much? Okay, now it's time to sell and pivot. I mean, there's just so many things But I'm sure you all have a handle on all of that. But I'm just so excited about you guys' future. So excited for the success that you've had and the continued, success that you will have, if that makes sense.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
So what keeps you full of faith? You get up every day, you're managing this huge portfolio, you're running you're an executive leader in a company that you started just after college, right? And now you all have this huge success. We have all these employees, you have all this success. What keeps you full of faith? What keeps you grounded in God? Because it could be easy to say, you know what, child, look at this. It could be easy to, just puff your chest out and say, we did this. What keeps you grounded in God?
Yeah. I am so amazing with God, but without him, I'm a mess. And I mean that in every sense of the word. The ability to control my emotions, the ability to make decisions, the ability to be present for my team and empathetic for my team and really hear what's really going on, even though they're not sharing it. All of that is because I have the Holy Spirit. When you realize you really can't do this thing without God, I'm like, let me tell you something. Better is one day in your courts than 1,000 elsewhere. I would never. I make mistakes. I have my ratchet moments.
Don't we all?
But let me tell you something. Even in those moments, there is conviction. Even in those moments, God still speaks to me. And I just cannot imagine. Like, I'm just sitting here processing what you're saying, and I'm trying to think, like, what would my life be without God? And I would just honestly say a mess. A mess.
Only know.
I mean, I am so reliant on God. And I mean, in a very probably unreal way for a lot of people, I ask God what to wear in the morning. And the reason why, because I've had encounters where I've been at conferences and a person would come up to me and be like, I had a dream about you and I didn't see your face, but God sent a messenger to speak a word to me and she had on this kind of dress. Like, you don't recognize that this whole concept of the body of Christ and being connected to each other is real. Like, my purpose is connected to Dr. Jasmine's purpose and vice versa. When we come into community, when we come into alignment and try to really live out purpose with God, it is so interconnected.
It is.
And we live like it's not, but it is.
It is.
And so for me, I can't not be grounded. Because when I'm not grounded, I'm panicking. When I'm not grounded, I have anxiety. When I'm not grounded, I make really bad decisions. So I have seen the consequences of not being consecrated. And I just don't got the time.
I ain't got the time. It's a waste of time.
It's a waste of time. You end up doubling back like, okay, I'm sorry, God, let me go back and say, no. Like as someone who's 34 years old, I look at the fact that I have a lot of life to live, but I've had a lot of life that I've already lived. And when you reflect and think about time and how fast, I mean, girl, we are already through March. Like 2023 is running.
It's on speed.
It's on speed. And so when you think about like how swiftly things are happening and technology only accelerates that, why would you not want to be grounded?
Why would you not? I had a friend who said, after all we've been through COVID, after all that we have seen, so many of us have had, certain situations knock on our door, whether it be through loss of a loved ones, loss of jobs, and all kind of thing. Like, why would you not want to serve God? Especially when your foundation has been built on knowledge of Jesus Christ. Like why would you not? Like, now is the time more than ever to be laser focused on your relationship with Christ. But that's why we're here today, because we're trying to point people back to Christ. So I love that you have your balance and your boundaries, but also you are able to, bring in your faith in the workplace. You all seem unapologetically living in your faith, even in business. I'm sure that your employees know about you all's relationship with Christ. You pray before your meetings. I'm sure that's evident in the way you handle them with care, your employees. So that's super, super dope. Like, and I guess that leads me to my conversation about, why you chose at this phase in your life to even get a master's in divinity. Like, what led you there? Is it just because, for personal development reasons, or do you feel like you have ministry that required this extra level of training? Like, let us know.
Yeah, so it's funny because I ran from seminary. I did not want to go to seminary. I was like, Lord, what? Like, my pastor, he literally, he has a seminary degree, actually has a doctor of ministry. And so he's extensively trained in religious studies and ministry work. But it's funny, I told him, I said, give me some time to think about it. He was like, all right. And so I heard God say, this is when you need to start. You need to start in the fall of this time. People were like, why are you waiting? And this was before the pandemic. People were like, why are you waiting? Like, you are fully able to go now. And I was like, no, God said, wait. He said this. And I'm so glad that, even people of faith sometimes can push you because of what they see. But it's all about timing. It's all about God's timing. And so I ended up enrolling in school right in the pandemic. My first year was paid for fully.
Look at God.
Honey, first year paid. And, when I think about the journey to even get there, I used to be one of those people who did not believe that a seminary degree was necessary to function in ministry. I was like, it's not required. God is the one who qualifies you. And that is exceptionally true. But you still need training. And so even if and definitely for someone who's unchurched like me, I didn't grow up with pastors in my family. I didn't grow up with deacons and ministers and elders and evangelists, none of that. None of that. So you're talking about someone who just has a heart for God, following God, but still need practical tools. And so once I got there and got settled in, I was like, God, I don't know why I didn't want to do this. Because the first thing I was taught is how to really think theologically. Like, we're taught within our own doctrinal beliefs, within our own cultures, how to think when it comes to God. But how do you think about a God outside of your denomination, or a God outside of even your culture and your lived experience? And so that to me was transformative. And then just all the extra classes and curriculum that's been built upon that. I have training in Christian education. I have training in pastoral care. I have training in church administration, even practical ministry programming. So I feel like this degree has really given me a 360 of what it means to walk as a person in leadership and ministry. And no matter what role I have, I'll be equipped with some level of tools. I'm a minister of youth at my church, and that's almost like a mini church, right? Like, they need admin, they need programming, they need spiritual counseling, they need marketing and communication. So all the things that I'm learning in seminary is equipping me to even run my youth ministry and run the youth ministry programs and everything that's required to really function and edify the kids. So it was something I didn't want to do. It's something I didn't even think was required. But now on the other side and graduating in May, I'm just like, dang, God, like, you truly know best. And I went at the appointed time. And when I said I'm so grateful that my first year was paid, I was like, God, only you could do that. Like,
only God
could, bless me in that way. And also my school, prior to the pandemic, you would have to drive to Richmond to go to class. Because of the pandemic, it took everything virtual. So that helped me be able to balance better, because I would have virtual online classes versus trying to drive down to Richmond, stay in a hotel for the weekend, go to class. Like, it just would not have worked. And so even my classmates are from all over, right? So my school grew as a result of taking the classes online. So I know the pandemic was horrific, but there's a lot of shifting and fruit that came out of such a tragic, situation. And I am a benefactor of that shift.
That's good. I agree. A lot of millionaires were made in the pandemic.
Talk about it, girl.
A lot of people got blessed during the pandemic.
Yeah.
And some people did not, but I know quite a few people, especially business owners, and these are people who didn't necessarily take the check. They didn't go get those checks that were given out for business owners. These people who authentically either started a business and it grew exponentially, or their existing business shifted in ways that changed the trajectory of their business and their lives. Some might think overnight.
Yeah.
In less than a year.
Yeah.
So that speaks to what the word says, So that speaks to what the word says, how God will turn everything around for your good.
Yes.
And he will, store up for those who are believers.
Yeah.
So I love that. I love that. I love your story. And that speaks to your obedience. Look how that paid off.
Yes.
Look how your obedience paid off.
Yeah.
That's good. Oh my, we could talk all night, but you have so much wisdom. I love it. I love it. I love it. What's the best advice you would give women who want to step into your industry? They say, hey girl, I want to start my own business. Hey girl, I want to go to seminary. Hey girl, I want to get in marketing and events. I want to get into just landing those high value clients. Any advice you want to give women who want to step into your industry about whatever means you want to share, let us know.
Yes. Well, let me tell you something. I didn't get here because people had closed fists. So I am often humble to share wisdom, humble to share advice, because, it's how we grow and evolve. And so I would say, get connected to the trade associations for marketing. American Marketing Association, HubSpot has a community. They have this national conference. PRSA. There's just so many organizations that are focused on individuals in the marketing communication space. I love ColorCom. They're a good one because they're women of color in marketing, advertising, and DE&I. So I think, finding the people, the thought leaders, the mentors, the teachers that are already doing it and investing in yourself. These are not free organizations. They have paid memberships. But why not invest in you, right?
Why not?
And invest in you in a way that's going to allow perpetuity. We invest in us when it comes to our hair and our nails and, luxury items, but let's invest in our mind. Let's invest in our wealth and our legacy, and being connected to these organizations that can be very helpful to get us there. I would also say, from a seminary perspective, there's quite a few options when it comes to seminary, but you got to figure out where you are in your relationship with God. I will tell you, seminary is not designed to reinforce what you believe.
Yeah, I've heard that.
So you cannot go to seminary trying to figure out who God is. You got to know God for yourself through and through, because when I tell you the exercises, the readings, the theological approaches and perspectives, they will challenge you. And they will challenge your faith, and you have to be anchored enough to hear what is needed to be heard, and then know that there are some things that are built and birthed out of perspectives that might be challenged. And so for seminary, I would say be clear about your belief system, be clear about your faith, and not the things that grandmama and granddad and auntie, uncle, mama, dad taught you, because sometimes those are birthed out our own trauma,
or misinformation.
But the fundamentals, that Jesus is Lord.
Hello.
The fundamentals. That's all I'm asking you to know is the fundamentals. You'll be good. You'll be good.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing that. So what gives you the courage to keep going every day? You're doing so much. You're leading with integrity and empathy and so much courage. What gives you the courage to keep going every day?
I have some amazing mentors who are women in faith. I have a mom who is one of my biggest cheerleaders. And I remember there was a season of life where I had like serious imposter syndrome. I just didn't feel like I belong, like I deserve what I had. I didn't understand how I got there. Just all of that. And I remember every time I had to speak or do something, I would call my mom and just talk to her, and just her making me laugh. And again, remembering who I am and where I come from, that gives me the courage, and that gave me the courage in that season. So I think remembering who I am, like whose I am, I belong to God.
Amen.
And there's this scripture, I can't remember, in Proverbs, it talks about, the cowardly, they shy away, and they, but the people of God, we're bold as a lion. And I just remember that word when I am faced with adversity or faced with, challenging situations. I remember that in order for me to have courage, I got to remember that God made me bold as a lion. And I walk in that boldness daily. Bold lip, bold glasses, bold outfit, bold.
Yes, bold. I love
bold.
it. I love it. I love it. I have been talking to Miss Durecia Moorer. She is so many things, but most of all, I think that she is a global girl. She is stepping out into her purpose and passions with faith, know-how, and grit. So when I say, what does it mean for girls to go global? What would you say?
I think it kind of speaks to what we were talking about earlier about that whole concept of till all have heard. I think girls who are going global, they understand that I have a gospel, a message for the people that has to reach every end of the earth. And so as a woman of God, going global, it can be literally physically, but it can be spiritually. You can travel in the spirit, beyond what you thought possible. And even traveling online globally. So I think global has a lot of different meanings, but most importantly, it's about the hearing and the feeling of a real and present God.
I love that. Oh my God. I love that. You definitely are a global girl, and I have loved this conversation. So what can we expect from you next, and how can people contact you if they are looking to connect with you?
Yeah, so what is next? Well, I am done with seminary May 13th. Thank you, Jesus. We'll continue to build youth ministry within my current church. I'm looking forward to what that looks like for our kids. And this company, it's hard to anticipate because God is literally blowing our minds. Our revenue has doubled every year since the pandemic. And, at 7 figures, that's a big deal. And so I am grateful and just looking forward to what God will do in that aspect. And then how I can be reached on LinkedIn, Instagram, mostly, Durecia Moorer, DURECIAMOORER at Durecia Moorer is where I can be found. And looking forward to staying connected with the Girl Go Global community.
Oh, I look forward to staying connected with you as well. We're going to do better in this season.
Yes.
We are not just going to have online community. We are right in the DMV. There is no, after you graduate.
I know, right?
Let's, one of your self-care Saturdays, let's do some self-care and meet up in DC and do some lunch or do some dinner and have a good girl chat, some good time. And look, we can check out, we might bump into Durecia's Forever thing. Hello. Because we are looking for also, she got all of this and we want to share it with someone. We want her partner in purpose. We want her God-fearing man, and we calling him forth without delay. Hello.
In the name.
In the name of Jesus. So we, and Lord, same grace. The same grace. Same grace.
Same grace.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. Balance, boundaries, and a little kiki to go on top it off. So thank you so much, Durecia, for joining me on the Girl Go Global community. I have enjoyed this conversation. I'm getting all tongue-tied because I'm so giggly right now. But anyway, y'all, thank y'all so much for listening. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to go